California GOP Congressman Devin Nunes, ranking member of the House Intelligence Committee. Good morning, Congressman. How are you?
Good morning to all of you. You guys are more like MTV. You're not Fox and Friends this morning. You're spending more time talking about music.
You
Sometimes.
know, it's kind of the job, indeed. We want to ask you, though, Congressman, an important story that hasn't gotten as much attention as some of the others this week, and that is we're seeing now Christopher Steele breaking his silence on his dossier. Let me show you a little bit of what he had to say to a private group. He says, "I stand by the integrity of our work, our sources, and what we did. Trump himself doesn't like intelligence because its ground truth is inconvenient for him." He was at Oxford University where he said these remarks. Your reaction?
Well, let's remember the great work that investigative reporter Lee Smith discovered in his book, The Plot Against the President. What did he find out? He discovered that there were actually proto-dossiers before Christopher Steele's dossiers. These dossiers were produced by none other than Fusion GPS, who was working for the Clinton campaign. So all Christopher Steele did was he put his name on these dossiers that happened to be exactly what the FBI wanted in order to spy on the Trump campaign. So Steele is not a guy who has any credibility whatsoever. These are not his dossiers. I mean, no matter how many times the fake news media wants to talk about it, I think it's been proven pretty clearly that he largely didn't even know what the hell was even in his dossiers. So for him to even be talking about this is unreal, because if he wants to take credit for these dossiers, really he should be sued for defamation and slander because they were fake. And
so he's calling it ground truth.
From Russians.
He's calling it truth. He's saying this is inconvenient for the president because what we got was truth. Yet we've seen time and time again, it's not only not truth, but it's speculation and falsehoods.
Well, speculation, and also don't forget, maybe one of the only things that he actually did do is he might have talked to some Russians. Okay, now think about that. Do you think that the Russians who were formally connected to the government in some way would give Christopher Steele, who they know is doing some type of work for someone, that they would give him some information on Donald Trump? The whole thing is preposterous. And let's not forget, the one thing we still don't have in terms of a document, we know the British government in early January sent a letter to the incoming Trump administration. Okay, this has been filed in court. The special counsel supposedly had this document. The British government reportedly disavowed Steele and his credibility. Now, look, that document has went missing. General Flynn, this is critical for General Flynn's defense. General Flynn's defense has asked for this document. Republicans on the House Intelligence Committee have asked for this document. But like everything with this Russia hoax, the documents seem to disappear that are really important for the Trump administration and Republicans.
Representative Nunes, I want to ask you about this CNN op-ed from June of 2019 called "Soliciting Dirt on Your Opponents from a Foreign Government is a Crime." We actually have a quote from that op-ed. It says the Trump campaign assessed the potential risks and benefits of again seeking Russia's help in 2020 and has decided to leave that opinion on the table. Now, the Trump 2020 campaign has decided to sue CNN over this. You've decided to sue as well. Yeah. My concern is, does this set a dangerous precedent to sue an opinion writer of an op-ed?
No, I think quite the opposite. I think if the defamation laws and slander laws that are on the books, some of the oldest laws in this country and date back to English time, if we don't enforce these, we're going to continue to get more and more outrageous. So look what happens next. Look at what you saw last week with the Democratic leader in the Senate stand before the Supreme Court, just a half a mile from here, and attack two Supreme Court justices. This is what happens if you let defamation and slander continue, where anyone can say anything. What happens next, it leaves the politicians, like myself and like the president, and the next target that the left will take on will be the judges.
But doesn't
so the courts really have to step in and stop this from happening.
Well, the other aspect of this is the Trump campaign reached out to the writer, said that's blatantly not true, prevented evidence of that, because the writer's trying to perpetuate the idea that what are the risks, what are the benefits of working with the Russians yet again, when that hasn't even been proven. So I understand Jed's concern, but at some point, if you're presenting information, the media's ignoring it and printing the other side and knowing it to be false, what other recourse do you have?
Well, look, I understand the whole issue here, right? I mean, like we should talk about issues. People can have opinions, But calling people Russian agents is not an opinion. Let's take the two cases. I'll just make one point about the cases that I've brought against both the Washington Post and CNN. Now, look, they've basically said that I can appear in two places at the same time. I'm like all powerful. They have me in Vienna when I was actually in Benghazi. The Washington Post has me in meeting with the president when I was actually in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I mean, this is nonsense. And so this has to stop. They know that a human being cannot be in two places at the same time.
Yeah, just the challenge is the slippery slope of those lawsuits, because I'm an opinion person. I say things I would not want to be, if I were being critical of, say, a future Biden administration, if that were to happen. I wouldn't want people saying, oh, let's sue Jedediah because she's vocalizing her opinion on a certain issue. So you have to be careful of the slippery slope.
But Jedediah, I respect you, but remember this. You would not, as an opinion person, start running around and like Joe McCarthy and calling everybody Russian assets.
I would not.
That's what the Democrats and the media are doing here, and it's preposterous.
Congressman, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks,
Appreciate your time.
Have a good time this morning.
You got it.